Vaya Bhagavate Uttama-shloke Bhaktir-bhavati Naistiki. Today we'll continue reading from 4th Canto, Chapter 5, entitled Frustration of the Sacrifice of Daksha, from text 14 onwards. Text 14. Some of the soldiers pulled down the pillars which were supporting the pandal of sacrifice. Some of them entered the female quarters, some began destroying the sacrificial arena, and some entered the kitchen and the residential quarters. Text 15. They broke all the pots made for use in the sacrifice, and some of them began to extinguish the sacrificial fire. Some tore down the boundary line of the sacrificial arena, and some passed urine on the arena. Text 16. Some blocked the way of the fleeing sages, some threatened the women assembled there, and some arrested the demigods who were fleeting the pandal. Text 17. Maniman, one of the followers of Lord Shiva, arrested Bhrigumuni, and Veerabhadra, the black demon, arrested Prajapati Daksha. Another follower, who was named Chandesha, arrested Pusha. Nandishwara arrested the demigod Bhaga. Text 18. There was a continuous shower of stones, and all the priests and other members assembled at the sacrifice were put into immense misery. For fear of their lives, they dispersed in different directions. Text 19. Veerabhadra tore off the mustache of Bhrigu, who was offering the sacrificial oblations with his hands in the fire. Text 20. Veerabhadra immediately caught Bhaga, who had been moving his eyebrows during Bhrigu's cursing of Lord Shiva, and out of great anger thrust him to the ground and forcibly put out his eyes. Text 21. Just as Baladeva knocked out the teeth of Dantavakra, the king of Kalinga, during the gambling match at the marriage ceremony of Aniruddha, Veerabhadra knocked out the teeth of both Daksha, who had shown them while cursing Lord Shiva, and Pusha, who, by smiling sympathetically, had also shown his teeth. Text 22. Then Veerabhadra, the giant-like personality, sat on the chest of Daksha and tried to separate his head from his body with sharp weapons, but was unsuccessful. Text 23. He tried to cut the head of Daksha with hymns as well as weapons, but still it was hard to cut even the surface of the skin of Daksha's head. Thus Veerabhadra was exceedingly bewildered. Text 24. Then Veerabhadra saw the wooden device in sacrificial arena by which the animals were have to be killed. He took the opportunity of this facility to behead Daksha. Text 25. Upon seeing the action of Veerabhadra, the party of Lord Shiva was pleased and cried out joyfully, and all the bhutas, ghosts, and demons that had come made a tumultuous sound. On the other hand, the Brahmanas in charge of the sacrifice cried out in grief at the death of Daksha. Text 26. Veerabhadra then took the head and with great anger threw it into the southern side of the sacrificial fire, offering it as an oblation. In this way, the followers of Lord Shiva devastated all the arrangements for sacrifice. After setting fire to the whole arena, they departed for their master's abode, Kailasha. Thus ends the chapter 5. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madhu. Hare Krishna. When you're ready, Sri Krishna Prabhu, you can take over, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Swapna Mataji, Sundaram Prabhu. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Sikshashtamekam Purusha Puranam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sariradari Krupambudirtamaham Prapadye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we are seeing this section where Lord Shiva is extremely angry and he's punishing all those offenders at the sacrificial arena of Daksha. So during this beginning of this section, we have seen how Narada Muni always carries the news in the demigod's planetary system, in all of the three planetary system, basically. He has access to all three planetary systems. So in this case, so after Sati left her body, by creating fire within her body and merging into the fire, now the news has been given to Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva, after hearing this, he became extremely angry because Sati was very innocent, and she was innocent, and also on top of it, she was very, very dear daughter of Daksha. She was the youngest daughter, and all this, you know, is very chaste and very faithful. And she was very powerful, even she was like a goddess, Durga herself. She could have killed her father, but she had taken the position of leaving the body, because whenever Lord Shiva used to call her Dakshayani, she used to remember her father. And because her father is inimical to Lord Shiva, she could not withstand that kind of um, feelings and emotions. So you can see how much importance they've given to feelings and emotions rather than the body. She was ready to quit the body because of the connection between her father and herself is through the body. So, and also, Daksha was so hard-hearted that even after she died, she left the body. Even after that, he was not so much moved. So it wasn't mentioned in any of the verses that he was, in tears or anything. He was still very much inimical. He was just feeling that she's connected to Lord Shiva. It's like a father is always very, very dear to daughters, especially the youngest daughter, being so dear to him. It was very astonishing, even for Vidura, who is hearing. How is it possible? And then Maitreya is basically reciting the whole pastime. So it is even for anyone, it is very astonishing. Like personality like Daksha, who is very, very on the Sattvic platform. He is performing all this yagyas, and he's so tejasvi, but still he missed on the very basic etiquette, all this etiquette, because of one reason, because of offending the great personality like Lord Shiva. So that made his heart very hard-hearted. And now, when somebody offends, whoever is surrounding that person, they also actually have to take the responsibility, and they also have to incur the reactions. So now Lord Shiva has produced a personality called Virabhadra by his own power, just from his hair. So now the Virabhadra and all of their associates, Nandishwara, all of them, they now reached the Daksha's sacrificial arena. So now this is like a revenge of going on for the offenses all of them did. So when Sati was actually created the fire and she left the body, suddenly all of the associates of Lord Shiva become angry. And that time, Bhrugumuni did not want to cause any disturbances to the sacrificial arena, to the sacrifice that is going on. So he produced um, lot of these Rish demigods who are very powerful to defend any cause, any disturbances to the sacrifice. So all of these associates of Lord Shiva were actually forcefully, they're fleeing because of all, they were being punished by all those personalities created by Bhrigumuni. So like Bhrigumuni is one of the offender, Daksha is another, major prime offender. And then there were other personalities who are even smiling, who are laughing, or who are showing their teeth. All of them are being punished because they are actually participating in that by being there and being. They didn't verbally, or they didn't show any feeling or emotions condemning the act. So they actually supported the act, so they are also being punished here. So here we can see starting from verse number 14. Um, so these Virabhadra and other soldiers, their prime aim is to stop the sacrifice and also to punish the offenders like Daksha, Bhrugumuni, and all others. So they started dismantling the whole sacrifice. Like generally a sacrifice, there will be a pandal, there will be, many kundas for offering yagyas, and all of the pillars and everything is being destroyed here. You know, so even residential quarters, kitchen, all of them are being destroyed, and there are many pots used for sacrifice. So in the sacrifice, they use ghee and all the other offerings like sesame seeds and all that. So all of that is being destroyed, and they're also making the sacrificial arena unfit for sacrifice by passing urine. So they're trying to do everything they can to stop the sacrifice. And then they also, like a lot of these Devata demigods are trying to flee, Brahmanas are trying to flee, but they are all arrested by Virabhadra and their associates. So now Maniman, so one of the associates of followers of Lord Shiva, it was mentioned he arrested Bhrugumuni. So the reason here again, Bhrugumuni is one of the prime, person who, when Lord Shiva's followers were very angry when Sati was died, but Bhrugumuni actually stopped all of them from doing anything. So that's why here Bhrugumuni is being arrested. And then Virabhadra arrested Daksha. So Daksha is arrested, and then another follower called Chandasha, Lord Shiva's follower, he arrested Pusha. And then Nandishvara arrested demigod Bhaga. So these four personalities' names are mentioned here. And there are a lot of other demigods, they had to suffer the reactions of just being there, without, they would have not participated or anything, but just because of their presence, they all have to suffer the consequences. So here we can understand the collective karma of anybody who's doing wrong, especially the leader of the assembly. Then the collective karma is given to everybody. So of course he has to take the majority of it, but everybody has to suffer the consequences. And it was mentioned that there was continuous shower of stones. So all of them were suffering very greatly. And these priests and other members, they were assembled, were extremely miserable. And they were running here and there, because of their fear of their lives. And so now Virabhadra is punishing Bhrugumuni by tearing his mustache, and he's offering that in the sacrificial oblations um, in the fire. And Virabhadra again punished Bhaga. So one of the activities, one of the Bhaga's uh, offense was mentioned here. So when Bhrigu was cursing Lord Shiva, it seems that Bhaga was moving his eyebrows up, and then feeling, showing his acknowledgement that, oh, this is right, kind of a thing. So now he's also being punished because of that act. So we can see every minute details of offense is mentioned here, like just like one of the pillars of dharma is compassion or mercy, right? So we understand that the meat eating is basically killing that pillar of dharma. So meat eating is like killing and eating the flesh of the animal without any compassion for the animal is killing the dharmas, one of the pillars of mercy. So in that connection, the Shastra says that people who kill the animal, people who prepare the flesh, and then people who sell it, and people who buy it, and people who cook it, and the person who distributes the eatable to others, and the person who eats, all of them are punished equally. And so this is a law. That's how the law works. Even though in this case there is only Sati and his father. This is just a personal thing. But because it is happening on a arena where everybody is sitting, and whoever participated emotionally and physically, they are all being punished here. So the law of karma is very, very complicated. So even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So that is what we are actually witnessing in this arena also. So just because he raised his eyebrows, he's also being punished, the Bhaga here. And he was, for that offense, his eyes have been forcefully plugged out. So that was the punishment given to Bhaga. So another verse here says that there is a comparison given here for Lord Baladev. So Kalingashya Yata Balaha. So and Lord Baladev actually punishes Dandavakra, the king of Kalinga. So there was once, what happened once, there was in reference to Aniruddha's marriage. Aniruddha was a grandson of Lord Krishna. So Aniruddha kidnaps a daughter of Dandavakra, and then he was being arrested for kidnapping, and the soldiers from Dwaraka and headed by Lord Balrama, they all came, and then there was a big fight between these two Kshatriyas. And in this fight, Baladev actually knocks out the teeth of Dandavakra. So this was mentioned here as a Maitreya Rishi is, as he was reciting these pastimes, he remembers the pastime and then correlates. It was similar to that, like kind of a situation. So here also Virabhadra, he caught hold of Daksha, he knocked out Daksha's teeth. And again, another incident here, like when Lord Shiva is being cursed, it seems that Daksha was showing his teeth, kind of approving what Bhrigu was doing. So that is the reason his teeth was being knocked out. And Pusha again, who was um, and another personality, Pusha, who was also smiling. Also, he has shown his teeth. His teeth is also being knocked out. So Prabhupada mentions here that all of these offenders now being punished by the soldiers of Lord Shiva. Um, so the spirit of fighting. So here, so in the Daksha Yajna, there were different personalities like, Bhrigu Muni, these different personalities, they all were extremely powerful. So this, Prabhupada is saying that this spirit of fighting is not because of personal enmity, um, and they are trying to defend themselves, and it's like a complicated situation that they're trying to defend, but at the end everything will come to a peaceful end. So now going forward, Virabhadra now is primarily his aim is to punish Daksha. So he was trying to cut off Daksha's head, and Virabhadra personality is so gigantic, and it was mentioned in the beginning of this chapter. But he could not even, cut off the Daksha's head. He was very surprised, So Daksha, so he's a very powerful personality. He was born from Lord Brahma himself. But because of his offense, now he's about to lose his head. So now, so he tried various things, like he tried with the weapons, Sastrair, Astran, Anvitai. So with Vedic hymns as well as Sastrair. So weapons, both he tried, but he could not cut off the head of Daksha. So then he got bewildered. So Vishmayam Param Apanno. So he got bewildered. Now he's thinking what to do. Now he saw the sacrificial arena. There were weapons meant for killing the animals. And so he took the opportunity and took that weapon. So now here again Prabhupada mentions that how the Vedic sacrifices happens. So in the Vedic sacrifices, animals are given in the sacrifice uh, generally to give the animals a new life by Vedic mantras. So these Jagrik Brahmanas were very powerful. They can light the fire just by mantras, and by offering the sacrifice of an old animal, they can give them again a fresh new body. So they used to chant all those mantras and test the mantras, it seems. So that was the purpose. So the purpose was never for eating meat. So nowadays, in the name of sacrifices, we see that animal was sacrificed, and again the flesh is actually eaten by people. But that was never the purpose of Vedic sacrifice. So here, so Virabhadra used that weapon and he immediately beheaded Daksha. So now it was mentioned that everybody were shocked and astonished, and whoever is present on the arena, and they also scattered everywhere. They cried, and they were running here and there. Now Virabhadra and all their associates, they were joyful. Their purpose of their trip here was fulfilled, and all of the bhutas, pretas, pischa, shanam, all of the associates, they were all made a tumultuous sound, and they cried out joyfully. On the other hand, Brahmanas were extremely sad on the grief of death of Daksha. So now on the coming to this conclusion, so Virabhadra, then he was extremely angry. He was anger personified, So Lord Shiva, is personally came out of his Lord Shiva's body. So it was mentioned that out of all associates of Lord Shiva, Virabhadra is the highest personality because he came from the Lord Shiva's body, and he was also mentioned as anger personified. So now he took the head of Daksha and he threw it on the southern side of sacrificial fire and offering it as an oblation. So you can imagine his anger is so much that he wanted to destroy. And Lord Shiva, so in this way, the Lord Shiva's followers, they devastated all the arrangements of sacrifice. After setting fire to the whole arena, they departed for their masters about Kailasha. So now their purpose of their coming to this arena was fulfilled, and they went back to Lord Shiva again to mention about this news. So here also in this chapter we can learn a lot of the lessons. When something offensive was going on, like Sati mentions in the previous chapter, she gives three reasons why she had to kill her own. She had to leave her body. She says if something offensive is going on, one should defend the person by giving arguments. If he cannot do that, he has to leave that place. If he cannot do that, he has to kill himself. So she gives us three reasons. And when her own father was offending Lord Shiva, she was hearing that, and then she feels that she could not defend him because he's his father. By father, being a father, he's a superior position. He's making a very terrible mistake by offending a great personality. So she could not do defend herself. And the second, she could not even leave that place because she was so much emotionally connected with the fathers, the sisters, mother, and everybody. And she thought this connection is going to haunt me the whole life because I want to come here, but then I could not come because of my father's inimical situation. She thinks now the best decision is to leave this body which is connected to the father. So that is the primary reason she leaves the body. And another important lesson we can understand here is how all of these people who did not physically do anything but emotionally connected with all the offenses, they are also getting punished. So how much importance it is to stay away from Vaishnava aparad, especially Lord Shiva is the Param Vaishnava. So he is so much detached from the material world that he's always chanting, he's always meditating on Lord Shankarshana. So that when a personality like Lord Shiva is being offended, all these people, they just went along with that offense, and then some of them who moved their eyebrows, some of them who smiled, some of them who showed their teeth, everybody is collectively being punished. So, so this is again a very good lesson for our us. The Vaishnava Aparad is like a hathi, mad elephant, offense. So it is said hathi mata. So like when the mad elephant comes in a nice garden, it can destroy the garden in few seconds. So we could have taken many years to build this garden very beautifully with all the flowers. So this heart of a Vaishnava is so nice that it carries the lotus feet of the Lord. And the heart of the Vaishnava is to be protected from this mad elephant offense, especially the Vaishnava Aparad. So that's why the Vaishnava Aparad has to be very, we have to carefully protect, consciously protect, because even if we participate willingly or unwillingly by being there, it still affects our consciousness. So these are the lessons that we can take from this chapter. And also we can understand how powerful Lord Shiva and all of his associates. So we should never kind of deride, Lord Shiva is a personality who is meant for saving all these souls from this universe. We should never come with any kind of discussions that okay, Lord Shiva is the head of the mode of ignorance, and therefore we should never come to those discussions because these higher personalities we can never understand their purpose. So in Brahma Samhita, like Yatha Dadi Vikara Visesha Yogat. So it says that just like a milk is converted like to yogurt, so similarly, this is the difference between Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. So they all same but different for the different purpose of the maintenance of creation. They appear differently. So we have to understand those tattvas, and we should never consciously make any offenses. So we should protect that. That these are the lessons that we can learn from this wonderful chapter. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for all of your association today. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srimad Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you for the wonderful class with lessons also, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.